Chance for Bristol City, volley in!
Oh, he's done it.
As well's got the finish. Here goes Bell. It's a brilliant run from Sam Bell all the way! Ruthless stuff for Bristol City.
We are back at Ashton Gate. Bristol City looking to end this season on a high note today against relegation-threatened Rotherham United, who are simply fighting for their lives. Two positive away performances for the Robins, but goals are scarce at the moment for the Reds. Matt Taylor's Rotherham defiant with the trapdoor looming. A hard-earned draw against title-chasing Burnley during the week, and they had to come from behind. They'll be hopeful they can pick up another positive result again today. Welcome to Robins TV. Brilliant to have you with us. Hopefully we have a cracking game in store this afternoon. Bristol City not really playing for anything more than pride with these 3 games remaining, but their 3 opponents, of course, so much on the line for them this afternoon. Right, we've got a very special guest with us this afternoon, a man who's used to following Bristol City up and down the country, and thankfully today we have him on our airways as well, Mr. Gary Owers. Gary, brilliant to have you with us.
Thank you.
We were just talking then, 2 pretty good performances on the road for City, but goals, as I say, are pretty hard to come by.
Yeah, really good at Watford, played some terrific football, dominated the game for long periods, just nothing to show for it, unfortunately. Pretty similar story up in Sheffield against a good team, a team that's going to play in the Premier League next season, and really good in the first half and just come off it a little bit in the second half. And both games were very close, but no points to show for it. But the performances are high.
And it's a tricky one because we're used to seeing City sometimes having to sit back and let teams play and then try and catch them on the counter-attack. And chances actually have been easier to come by in those games. People have been crying out for them to dominate matches, which they did in the first half against Sheffield United, but the chances just aren't really coming.
Yeah, I mean, Watford as well. Watford dropped off really low and defended really deeply, and it made it difficult for City to find that last pass. And they just started better than Sheffield United and really took the game to them, and I think they caught Sheffield United a bit by surprise and silenced the crowd. But 1 or 2 half opportunities, maybe a penalty I thought to Sheffield United for a pull on Sam Bell, but didn't get the rub of the green as usual in them decisions.
And 600 Rotherham fans travelling to support their side today. They are just above the relegation zone. They have got a game in hand as well. They're playing the sides that are down there with them in the coming weeks. What do you expect today? Can City sort of play into a few nerves?
I don't think they'll be nervous. Matty Taylor, actually, the manager, used to be my assistant manager at Bath, so I sort of want to see Matty do quite well, but unfortunately that doesn't extend to winning today. But they'll be tough opponents. They've got some good attacking players, Ogben, Hugh Gill, Fosu. They've got a little bit of pace and power. And, you know, they're scrapping for their lives. It's a real dogfight at the bottom of the Championship, and I just think that they might be one of the teams that escape the trapdoor.
Yeah, absolutely. Some fascinating relegation battles, some big teams down there. Let's have a look then at the 2 sides that will go toe-to-toe today. As you say, Matt Taylor makes 2 changes to his starting 11. The first is at centre-half. Former Manchester United man Tyler Blackett comes in to replace the veteran centre-back Richard Wood, who has just surpassed 250 games for the Millers. A midfield 2 that remains the same. West Ham, Loney, Connor Coventry in there. Beyond that, Ogbene, top scorer this season, and the main creative influence sits in a 3 that includes Keena. And the second change, Fosu replacing Ferguson. Then up front, Jordan Hugill, a name synonymous, you have to say, with the Championship. He's looking to steer the ship to safety and has contributed 4 goals since arriving in January. And then on the bench, Robbie Henfrey, the replacement goalkeeper, thrown in following injury against Burnley during the week. Had to deal with 2,500 travelling, raucous Burnley fans behind the goal. So he's on the bench there as well. As for Bristol City, 3 changes today. Naismith comes in at centre-half, pushing Pring back to left-back, which of course is his favoured position. Unlucky for Jada Silva, who's looked bright, particularly in an attacking sense. He drops down to the bench. In midfield, the experience again, and Matty James and Premier League winning Andy King remain as a 2. Alex Scott beyond them, starting today ahead of Andy Vyman. And then the front 3, Conway back in, replacing Wells, nestled in there between Sam Bell, his good mate, and Harry Cornick. Great to see Joe Williams as well returning to the bench, perhaps sooner than some might have expected. A familiar sight with all those key players returning from injury as well. A really strong bench for Nigel Pearson, who we will hear from now with Robins TV.
Nige, our penultimate game of the season at Ashton Gate, and you've brought Cal Naismith back. How good is it to have him?
Yeah, 3 changes. It's just about freshening it up and trying to get a different look to it. So Cal's had a bit of an in and out season, and I think it's good for him to try and get some pitch time now between now and the end of the season to finish on a good note. Pringy goes back out to left back, but he's done a decent job for us at centre back. So and then just a couple of changes up top. So we'll see how we fare.
We're not short of attacking options. In terms of Tommy Conway, Alex Scott back in there, what's your thinking around that selection?
I need a bit of a response, and but they've been generally very, very good for us this season. So, you know, for me, it's let's see whether we can find an attacking spark where we start scoring goals again in open play. We've had a frustrating couple of games where things haven't really quite gone our way in front of goal. I think it's no reflection. I mean, I think Naki in particular and Andy, they always work so hard for the team. But I just want to see if making a change can give us a different outcome.
Joe Williams, we haven't seen him for 7 weeks because of his injury. In terms of him finishing the season with some game time, how important would that be?
I think more psychologically for him, it would be a positive thing. He seems to be in a different place mentally this season. You know, he's not been as frustrated this time around. Although, obviously, when he picked up this recent injury, it looked as though his season could be over. But he's worked very hard. He's responded very well to treatment, and so we've got him back with 3 games to go, and that's a bit of a bonus for us and for him. But we've still got to be careful with him. You know, I think if he gets introduced today, it'll be no more than 30 minutes. But it's still good to have his type of player back because he gives us energy and aggression, and so I think, you know, Joe's in a decent place himself.
We want a reaction. Rotherham 3 points above that relegation zone. How much of a battle will it be today?
It will be a tough game. They will be direct, physical. They never turn down the opportunity to put the ball into the box. So we're going to have to be ready to defend our penalty box with a real steely determination today. But more importantly, I want us to go out there and play with our own identity, and that is to play, you know, aggressive attacking football. And if we do that and manage their strengths, I think, you know, we've got a great chance of winning the game. But this will be a tough game. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
All the best today.
Yeah, cheers, thanks.
Another honest interview from Nigel Pearson. A couple of things to pick out there, Gary. A response required from those players that came on the other night with Alex Scott and Tommy Conway coming into the starting 11.
Yeah, there's a bit of psychology going on there, I think, and it could work out to be a bit of a master stroke, sort of give them a kick up the backside, if you like, and then put them straight back in the team, and they're playing under a little bit of pressure, and I'm sure we'll see both of them working very, very hard this afternoon.
And with the subs coming on the other night, it is about body language and bringing something to the game, and if they're not going to have the impact, then he's right to call players out. Of
course. I mean, we went to Stoke not too long ago, and the subs changed the game, turned the game on its head, and as a manager, that's what you want to see, and certainly it was a really close game up at Sheffield, and obviously one goal would have got a point for us, but it just didn't materialise on the evening. But there was still some good individual performance in midweek. I thought Andy King was outstanding in midfield.
Absolutely. And Joe Williams back on the bench. He's been so unlucky, in and out. We've been desperate to see the best of Joe Williams. We were starting to, and then of course he picked up this latest injury. Yeah,
it's a positive, of course, because we all thought his season was over. So it's nice that he's got himself back involved in the squad, and I think they'll look after him, wrap him in a little bit of cotton wool, I would imagine. But for him, again, getting back on the pitch before the end of the season, that'll make him feel really, really good.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. Hopefully we see at least 30 minutes, as Nigel said, of Joe Williams. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you won't know that there's a massive game here at Ashton Gate tomorrow as well this weekend. Bristol City women fighting for promotion. They're almost there, and one of the stars of that side is with Downsy now. It's Fran Bentley.
Yeah, massive day tomorrow here at Ashton Gate. The visit of Charlton Athletic, and yes, the Women's Championship could be topped by Bristol City women and promotion could be gained. Well, joining me here in the concourse is Fran Bentley. Fran, you must be so excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, we're really excited, and I think we're ready as a team, but it's a great occasion and we have a lot of fans coming, so yeah, it's really exciting.
That gap at the top between you and London City has sort of got bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller as the season has gone on. You're coming off the back of a 5-0 thumping of Sunderland last weekend, so confidence must be high.
Yeah, massively confident going into it, and I think getting those goals is really important for us. We get it flowing up there, and I think we just feel really excited as a team going into it.
What does it mean for you personally and the rest of the squad to gain that promotion? Because it's been a long old season.
Yeah, I think for me personally it would be an amazing achievement, and it's something that we've all wanted from the start of the season, and every single player is working really hard to get there, and we know we can do it as a squad together.
Over 6,000 seats sold here already, so the atmosphere is going to be absolutely amazing. And then of course promotion means playing here week in, week out. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's where we want to play. We want to play in the big stadiums, and it's a great atmosphere here. It always has been, so everyone's really looking forward to it.
Lauren Smith, obviously head coach, has done an incredible job this season. In terms of readiness, how much more ready could you be for this game tomorrow?
I think we're as ready as we can be. We've got every single player fit and raring to get in that squad, and I think everyone's just ready to get on the pitch and play there tomorrow. And
what sort of game are you expecting? What are Charlton going to bring?
They're pacey up top. I think it'll be quite a tight game and quite transitional as well, but we've got to stick to our game plan and we know what we need to do to win.
OK, so for those people that haven't yet bought their ticket, why should they come down tomorrow?
I think the atmosphere will be amazing, just a great showcase of women's football, and we'll get that promotion for you all.
Can't wait to be with you guys tomorrow. All the best for it, Fran, for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great stuff. All right, well, as you can see, lots of signing going on, lots of fans waiting for those autographs, and we wish Bristol City women all the best for tomorrow's game here at Ashton Gate. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much, Downsy. Yes, a massive game at Ashton Gate tomorrow. And remember, of course, you can still pick up your tickets. As Downsy mentioned there, just over 6,000 tickets sold now, which is a new record. It will be a fantastic atmosphere. You can buy tickets on the day and, of course, at bcfc.co.uk as well. Right, just over 15 minutes to go now until kick-off, and after the break we'll be hearing from a man who has had a superb campaign this season. It's not been the best for Bristol City, but Zach Viner individually has begun to flourish.
So we've got all this outdoor space here, and it's perfect for companies to come in, whether they're small or large. So we cater for maybe a team of 12 or a team of 800. They can come here, have a really positive experience and be rewarded for all their hard work in the office or whatever industry they're from.
As we've got such a big company, a lot of us don't see each other. Being able for the first time to get everyone out together in one place doing an activity together was great for team bonding and boosting that morale.
We can hone in on specific skills such as communication, leadership, teamwork, resilience. Here we've got a 400-metre military assault course, which is fantastic for team building. If you want a morale booster, this is the place to come. starts with a dream to play football, to make our city proud. For these young Bristolians, football is more than just a game. The future is now. It's in the hands of these young players. They were once just like these kids, dreaming of one day playing for their club. Now, they're the stars of BS3. Join these players and thousands of other City fans on our exciting journey.
Welcome back to Robins TV. Bristol City against Rotherham United in the Sky Bet Championship this afternoon. We'll be hearing more from Gary shortly, but first, he's played more times than any other Bristol City player this season, and now he's starting to really love life as a Red. And earlier this week, I caught up with Zach Viner at a bitterly cold Ashton Gate. Well, Zach, thank you very much for joining us. This is, well, we're here in what has been your home now, I think since, what, 2004, essentially?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, because I know, what time did you get back from Sheffield last night?
Yeah, pretty late. We got back about 3:30 in the morning, which was yeah, not ideal, but we're, you know, we were in today and getting the recovery done.
And of course, are you like cramped up on the coach on the way back? There's no,
yeah,
I mean, I guess they're quite nice coaches, but this must still be.
Of course, the coach is nice. There's a bit of room, but I sit next to Max, obviously a big guy, so we're trying to get our space as well as we can.
Yeah. This season, I mean, from the outside, it looks like it's been your most accomplished season as a Bristol City player. You played a little bit less last year, but a lot the year before that.
Yeah.
But I think it's just you and Naki that have basically played every championship game this season. You must be delighted with the way it's going for you personally.
For sure, yeah. No, I mean, the season's been great for me. Like you said, I didn't play as much last year, so I wanted to make sure that this year I was playing a lot of football. And I've certainly done that, which is what I've wanted, and it's been great. And I've sort of taken it with two hands and just tried to run with it as far as I can. Obviously, there's only a few left, and we want to make sure that we finish that on a high. And personally, I want to finish it on a high as well. But no, this season's been a lot of fun for me. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed every minute, really.
I guess looking back on your Bristol City career so far, there have been loan spells. Which ones do you, I guess, look back with most fondness? Where do you feel like you really developed your game? Of course, you played periods in midfield as well, and that must have helped with your sort of ball-playing ability coming out from the back and your confidence.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. From, like you just said there, you know, playing at Aberdeen and going up there was a big eye-opener as well. You know, playing at some big games and some big stadiums, and like you say, you know, sort of stepping into midfield and getting chucked there and making sure that I had to, you know, deal with it and not sort of drown. But no, it obviously helped me. But I think if I was to say one of them that I look back on, and I think everything to do with that loan was, you know, was great, and it developed my football, I was playing centre half, was probably the Plymouth one. It's probably my most successful one anyway in terms of.
And you were loved down there as well. I remember.
Yeah,
I remember at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good fun down there. I enjoyed myself, and obviously the fans were great, and they got behind me really well, and yeah, it was a good time. And I mean, all my loans I've learned something from, of course. You know, even if it's like some of the lows, obviously getting relegated with Rotherham, I've learned from that experience. So there's obviously a learning experience from all of them. But if I look back on one of them, I think that Plymouth one was probably my favourite one in terms of how we were playing, you know, and just sort of being free at centre half to just go and pass the ball around, and you know, being able to sort of grow up as well, because I was 20 then, so it was obviously another growing up sort of loan. But no, yeah, they were all learning experiences. Yeah. But that one was real fun.
Yeah, and I guess during that time, the likes of Brian Tinian always sort of in touch with you. Has there been one coach, or I mean, maybe aside from family, or it could be a family influence, or somebody that's really kind of been there for you through sort of thick and thin?
Yeah, I mean, obviously my family, of course, you know, my dad would come to pretty much every game if it was possible. He came up to, I can remember my first game at Aberdeen, it was St Mirren away, and I wasn't expecting obviously to have any tickets for that game or for many of the games up there, and he made sure he was there, and he came to sort of 5 or 6 games up there. He came to quite a few, so you know, him obviously was a massive influence. And even with the lows, you know, like I said, at Rotherham, if we weren't winning that many games, and fans are getting on our backs and stuff, he was still in the stands, you know, and always rooting for me, like my mum and my brother as well. But you know, my dad was making the hard miles as well. But coaching wise, you know, there's loads of coaches, and like you say, Tins was always there calling me and texting me throughout my loans. And I can remember obviously Trevor Chalice being a big influence for me. I had him a couple of times actually in the youth. Ali Hines, I had him a couple of times in my in the academy. A manager, Carlos Anton, he was great. I had him under 18s, and he sort of helped me bridge that gap to sort of 21s first team training and stuff like that. So yeah, there's going to be loads of coaches that are still sort of around and helping me out and stuff like that now. But yeah, you know, there's probably too many to say now, and I don't want to miss anyone out. But yeah, those ones are sort of fresh in the mind.
Zach Viner there with myself earlier on this week. You can catch part 2 of that interview next weekend when we take on Burnley on Robins TV. And Gary, it was a difficult season for Zach last year. I think the fans will admit they were on his back at times, certainly throughout that campaign. We actually talk in part 2 a bit more about the mental struggles of football, but he's taken responsibility this season, it feels.
It's been brilliant. And it shows the strength of character that he's actually got, because he did take some criticism, and from the manager publicly. And I think he come back pre-season and really got his head down and really put a lot of effort in to giving himself a solid base to work from, and he's been outstanding all season.
And when he's got the likes of Cal Naismith alongside him, a different kind of centre-back, even in someone like Rob Atkinson as well, I guess we'll start to really see the best of him, because I was chatting, I think it was to Trevor Chalice, and a lot of centre-halves don't really develop their game fully until they're a little bit older, perhaps. Yeah,
when they get that experience. But I think one side of his game that I've seen develop is his leadership qualities. He's been part of a young back four at times, and he's really taken that role on as the leader, and that's added to his game, I think.
Absolutely. And looking ahead to today, Nigel Pearson said in his interview that they'll be direct Rotherham. They won't miss an opportunity to get the ball in the box. So there's going to be some pressure on that back four. And maybe that's part of the reason why Naismith is back in.
I think so, and it's important that City try and obviously cut the supply line off at source and get nice and tight. The full-backs get tight, they'll play forward. And they're good at it, and it's their style of play, and there's nothing wrong with it. And if it keeps them in the division, then fair play to the manager. But it's good that Nigel knows that he's in for a tough afternoon and a physical afternoon, and that's going to be the challenge. And you've watched Bristol City all season. There's been players that have stood out. There's been games where Bristol City have stood out. If you're Nigel Pearson, these 3 games remaining now, I mean, he alluded to it again in his interview. What do you want to see from these players going into the off-season? Well, you want to see them win. You want to see them finish the season strongly. You want to see them sort of finish as high up the table as they can, and they're going to have some tough games, because Burnley will be tough next season, and QPR the last game of the season. Anything could happen, but it's all about experience for the young lads, still sort of finding the way and trying to sort of develop their own careers at Ashton Gate. Sam Bell had a good second part of the season. Tommy Conway, they'll want to finish in the side so that when they come back pre-season, they're confident that, you know, they can get in that side from the opening game of the campaign. And there still seems to be that lovely spirit in the camp. I think we had Rob Atkinson on with us on Robins TV for the Sheffield United game, and he was talking about, I guess, off the pitch, just how positive Nigel Pearson wants to be following a defeat in and around the training ground. I think there's sometimes a bit of a misconception that Nigel Pearson will kind of talk to players in a certain way, but there seems to be that good energy in the camp. Well, that's what it's about. When you're on a bad run and you're a manager, you've got to be able to lift the players and fill them with confidence and make sure that they enjoy the training and enjoy coming into work. And sometimes when you're getting beat, that's difficult, but it looks like he's got a really tight, close-knit squad now, which is good. Fantastic. Right, time for us to say goodbye to those of you that are watching on Facebook and YouTube. You can still download your Matchday Pass, though, if you are overseas.